and salam sejahtera to everyone. My name is Muhammad Riza bin Khairuddin, and together with my teammates, we are going to review the Pulse 2 textbooks that will be used for the Form 2 students. Me, on my part, I will be talking about the physical and utilitarian attributes. The first up is general appearance, and based on the student's perspective, the outside cover is very informative and attractive. The font size and type used in the book are very appropriate. Moreover, the paper used is of good quality with a strong binding and good printing used. Even so, there's just enough white space to achieve clarity. Not only that, the title and subheading titles are written quite clearly and appropriately. However, the size of the textbook is appropriate and has a good sufficient number of pictures to make the situation more lifelike. And so, because it has many pictures, students feel more connected and easy to understand whatever the topic is talking about. And now for the teacher's perspective, the outside cover is quite informative and attractive. Not quite different from the student's perspective. Most are very similar. The font size and type used in the book are appropriate. Moreover, the paper used is of very good quality with a strong enough binding and good printing. Just like before, from the student's perspective, there's not much difference. So because of that, we'll be going towards layout and design. We'll be talking about layout and design next. According to the student's perspective, there are quite a good variety of designs to achieve impact and consistency in the use of headings, icons, labels, italics, etc. Furthermore, the textbook includes a very good detailed overview of the functions and structures that will be taught in each unit, a very good detailed overview of vocabulary, and every unit and lesson doesn't give an appropriate title and doesn't have a complete bibliography for the students. However, the textbook is quite organized logically and effectively and has quite adequate review sections and exercise included. Though there are adequate good vocabulary lists or glossaries which are included, for the layout and design section, the Pulse textbook is free of mistakes and very durable for the students to use in their daily life. So they can have fun rummaging the book around in their backpacks, and the book would withstand the harsh treatment from the students. And so from the teacher's perspective, it's not much difference. They are very good design. They are good in their design of the textbook. It's eye-catching. So the teacher has easier way to use the book, and it's also pleasant to work with the book throughout the entire year. And out of everything is somewhat similar with the students' perspective of the book. It is adequate with the vocabulary lists and glossaries which are included. For the layout and design section, the Pulse textbook is free of mistakes, similar to what the students has said earlier. And now we'll go for visuals. Based on the students' perspective, the visuals of the textbooks are quite well produced, varied and attractive, and can stimulate the students to be a little more creative. Besides that, the visuals are quite compatible with students' own culture. Even so, the visuals are not really functional for the students. And the teacher's perspective are the visuals of the textbooks are very well produced, very attractive, and can stimulate the students to be more creative. Besides that, the visuals are really functional for the students. However, the visuals are not compatible with students' own culture. So that's the difference between the two. And now I will pass the next one, which will be talking about the efficient outlay of objectives and supplementary materials. Thank you. That is all from me.
Hi, my name is Gursimran Kaur and I'm going to present about learning and teaching content. First of all, we'll go to subject and content, which we have found out that based on students' perspective, the material of the textbook is quite up to date and covers some of the topics from different fields, including some fun elements inside. Language in the textbook itself is very natural and real, and however, the subject and content of the textbook is not interesting, challenging, or motivating for the students. Even the topics can encourage some students to express their own views and allow some of them to think critically. And the course components are quite effectively and clearly quite organized around specific topics, but the topics are not provided with a list of new or difficult words for the students to learn. Based on the teacher's perspectives, The material of the textbook is up to date and covers some of the topics from different fields, including some fun elements as well. And the language is also very natural and real. And the topics also may encourage some students to express their own views and may allow some of them to think critically as well. But the topics are quite provided with a list of new or difficult words for students to learn. As for the exercises, according to students' perspective, the exercises have quite clear instructions that explain how every exercise can be done and quite foster the spirit of independent learning for the students. The exercises are not adequate, purposeful, and interesting, but the textbook doesn't prove a balance of activities and tasks that focus on both fluent and accurate production, including the tasks that can be moved from simple to complex for the students to test out their understanding. Even so, there are not many grammar points and vocabulary items introduced in motivating and realistic context, and the exercises may be modified or supplemented easily for the students. Besides that, the exercises might incorporate individual pair and group work for them. Though the textbook doesn't provide a variety of meaningful and mechanical exercises and activities to practice language items and skills, including models for students' final achievement. According to the teacher's perspectives, the exercises have really clear instructions that explain how exercise can be done and quite foster the spirit of independent learning. It is basically the same as the student's perspective as well. As for social and cultural context, based on students' perspective and also the teacher's perspective is quite the same. The contents of social and cultural in the textbook are quite comprehensible and quite free from stereotypical images and information. Moreover, the content presents some different cultures and discusses some well known characters from different areas of the world. And also, the content also may help the students be aware of how to interact using the language within a new culture that is often very different from their own and displays some of the different traditions and customs. It also the three P's of the culture are quite represented, including the topics of the content that cope with the criteria of the student's culture. However, the textbook can't express positive reviews uh, of ethnic origins, occupations, age groups, and social groups, and it does not present different cultures. That's all from me. I'll pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I'm going to talk about the next section of findings, which is under efficient outlay of objectives and supplementary materials. There are three sections, which are book objectives, teaching aids, and teaching methods. So let's start with the first one, which is book objectives, which have 10 items of evaluation. Based from students' perspective, the objectives of the textbook can make quite a balance between those four main skills, which are listening, reading, speaking, and writing. But the objectives of the textbook may seem quite relevant to students' local culture. While according to the teacher's perspectives, the objectives of the textbook can make a balance between those four main skills. However, the objectives of the textbook are not relevant to students' local culture. The similarities is that both found that the 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy are dominant in the textbook. Next is teaching aids with 8 items of evaluation. So based on students' perspectives, the textbook cannot be supported efficiently by audio because not all of the topics are supported by audio. Moreover, the workbook is available and it can give good useful guidance. While according to the teacher's perspectives, the textbook can be supported efficiently by audio because the teachers might use the audio from some of the topics to teach. In addition, the workbook is available and it is quite good for teachers to use in order to teach the students. Both found that the posters and flashcards that accompany the textbook are not available. So teachers and students cannot use the posters and flashcards because the textbook doesn't provide. And the last one is teaching methods, which consists of 14 items, and based on students' perspectives, the activities that are used may enable the learners to use English outside the classroom situation. Even so, the activities cannot be exploited fully to acquire different language skills. While according to teachers' perspectives, the activities that are used enable the learners to use English outside the classroom situation and may be exploited fully to acquire different language skills. And both found that the textbook can provide opportunities for teachers and students to localize activities. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Yusri and I will talk about the recommendation and suggestion from what we can get with the textbook Pulse 2 that we are reviewing. There are varieties of opinions that can be discussed on one item as long as people are evaluating it. All humans are different and so are their opinions. They may have similar perspective on something, but the in-depth details can be varied. There are multiple approaches can be done to overcome difficulties due to inappropriate content of the textbook. The activities in the textbook can be taken directly as a whole, which means the teacher adopts the activities in the textbook. But when the contents of the book just does not interest the student as they are unfamiliar with it, we can adapt the activities in the textbook and just change the content of the activity. For example, there is an activity that requires the student to talk about place outside of their country that are great for a holiday and already complete with the guidance on how to start your story. But your students are all from lower income families that never went outside of the country for a vacation. You can adapt the activity to your lesson and just change the content to talk about holiday destination in our country. The activity will be the same and the content is more common with what the student is familiar with. This will allow the students to gain more confidence to do their tasks. For further recommendation on writing a better textbook, it is better to make sure the topic in the books are something familiar to the students to help them relate better to what they are learning. If the topic for the lesson is about foreign culture, make sure it is an informative based lesson where all the answers for the tasks that will be given afterward can be found during the lessons in the material that were prepared. Never have the student do tasks that require them to talk or write about things that they are unfamiliar with. It will dampen their mood to learn as they may be discouraged or become not confident with themselves on what they need to do. They may think they have low knowledge of their subject as if it is compulsory for them to know all the foreign culture in the lesson. The teacher, however, can ask the students to research on the topic of foreign culture as homework that can be discussed in the next lesson. This way, it allows the student to actively find the content to talk about during their next lesson, and they will have full control over what they want to discuss during their next lesson, and it will boost their confidence to pay attention more to their lessons. So that is all from me, and we will continue with my friends.
Hello everyone, my name is Esther Shekinah Ravisandar. Next we are going to look at the evidence that we collected for our assignment. As for the first point, physical and utilitarian attributes, we have included the cover page of the textbook. As you can see in the picture itself, the cover is very informative and attractive. The color is very colorful and the font size and the type that they use in the textbook is very appropriate for the students. As for the second point, which is efficient outlay of objectives and supplementary materials, we have included the page of content as our evidence, because in that content itself there's a lot of objectives that we can get and supplementary materials that they use that we can use when we are teaching actually. As for the third point, which is learning teaching content, under the learning and teaching content there's few more other sub points as well. As for the first point from learning, teaching content, subject and content, as you can see in the picture with the included, the content for us to teach in that page itself is it's very good, and it's very appropriate for students, because the question words is what the 5 WH questions, and under that we can see another examples that they have given, which we can reuse and recycle the questions as well. As for the second point, which is exercises, in the textbook itself there's a lot of exercises included which students can do, and they can do in their meantime, they can do while they are teaching and everything, while they can learn and everything. As for the third point, social and culture content, in this textbook there's quite different social culture content from Malaysian students from Malaysia. There's the culture is included from all around the world, but it is informative for the students. And as for the fourth point, the fourth big point is language skills. All the skills were included in this textbook. The first skill is listening. For every topic, there's listening skills and exercises for that. As you can see in this picture, this textbook is coming with a CD, so the students can use the CD and listen to the words that they are repeating, and they can drill on them as well. And they can learn new words and how to pronounce the words as well. And the same thing goes for speaking as well. The new words are introduced in that page, and they are learning the words from the CD, and they can repeat after the educated actually. As for the third point, which is reading is as for each topic there are different kind of readings. For example, as you can see in this picture, the reading is an online magazine article. The students are going to learn how to read an online magazine article. It is a good way to start for the beginner learners and everything. As for the fourth point is writing. As you can see here is, as I mentioned earlier, each topic have different kind of writings, and as for this topic and this picture, they're going to learn how to write informal letter, and they're going to learn with the writing focus and the keywords and everything which are included in the textbook. As for the fifth one is vocabulary. They're going to learn new words for each topics and everything, which is very appropriate for them. And as for the sixth is grammar. Each topic they're going to learn different grammars, and the explanation for the grammars as well. They're going to learn, and they're going to do the exercise as well. As for the last point is pronunciation. At the end of the book, there is a pronunciation lab included in the textbook. The students can use the CDs and learn how to pronounce the words individually. And that's all for the evidence part. Next, we are going to look at the worksheet that we created for according to our evaluation of this textbook. The worksheet that we included is write an informal letter to your friend about your Genting Highland vacation. Use the words provided. The worksheet that we created, we took this writing exercise from the example that we've shown before, informal letter. So they're already going to learn how to write informal letter. So in the worksheet, they're going to proceed write the full essay of informal letter, but with guidance and everything. For now, for the first worksheet, we are going to provide a simple worksheet which included keywords and some of the words. So they just have to fill in the blanks and everything, which is quite easy. But this is the first step to learn informal letter. So this is one of the worksheets that we can use to teach them how to write informal letter. And I think that's all from us. Thank you.